Thanks, Nick. Yes, I like technology, so there's two cameras filming me. That's a sort of narcissistic tendency. It's brilliant to be here. I feel very privileged, actually, with the rest of the speakers. I feel like it's an honor to be here in such superb company. When I was asked to do this, the suggestion was, come and talk to a room full of CFPs about being a CFP. And I thought, well, I'm sure I would want to hear that, to be honest. But it became apparent that I think I was asked to do this because of what I'm doing online. Where I have come to and how I've come to that stage, I think is important. And at the risk of sounding like a dreadful brown-noser, I'm going to quote from our last speaker's book. So Daniel, hope that's okay. He talks about the value, your personal value being in your story, and how you have got to where you are will inform who you are and how you work. And he just says here, the truth is that your real wealth lies in your story. Your journey thus far has not been a waste of time, it's been perfect. Your hobbies, interests are not meaningless, they are a gold mine. Your passion isn't hollow, it's the best fuel you'll ever have. So that's encouraging. Drop that back on there. Oh, you missed the quote, Daniel. It was excellent. Just, it's important. I want you to know how I got to where I am now. It's not a remarkable story by any means. I am the son of a preacher man. I hope that sort of helps me reach you this afternoon. My father is a now retired Pentecostal minister, so I was raised in the church, so that affects a lot of what I do. But I followed probably the classic financial advisor, planner, career path, in that I binned my electronics degree because I couldn't do the maths, which is ironic, really. Anybody that sat in their A-level maths class and said, what on earth relevance has this to real life? Well, if you do an electronics degree, then you know what a calculus is for. I couldn't do it at all, failed my second year, and so I went to work for McDonald's, okay? And ended up running a store for them in Cardiff. But my wife is a nurse, and I came home at 5 in the morning after a late shift to a little note on the bottom of the stairs, which said, we have spent the evening together 10 times in the last 48 days. Something's got to change, exclamation mark. So as I was the one with the non-degree, and she was a very highly qualified nurse, I had a mate who worked for the Co-op Insurance Society. So I got a job as an agent. I bought a book and trudged the South Wales valleys in the rain, collecting 13p for a year's IB premiums. Anybody else done that? Yeah, okay. I always think I'd be really good at that now, but I hated it at the time. From the Co-op Insurance to the Royal and Sun Alliance, particularly in their property services division, so sitting in an estate agent in Cardiff, hoovering up mortgages and life insurance, things like that. Then made the leap to the light side, the independent world, but it was again a sort of mass market IFA, a little practice in Cardiff. He had 10 mortgage advisors in independent estate agents around Cardiff and the South Wales valleys, and he had 5 IFAs who went in and hoovered up the life. That easy. This was 2001, where you could get a mortgage on any property and anybody could get one, and it was easy. Wrote significant amounts of business, didn't earn very much off it. I imagine he did. But I made, I was going to say I made the mistake then, but she would kill me if I said that. I made the fantastic decision to marry a Cornish girl. So even though I'm from Yorkshire, Cornwall has a draw. If people leave Cornwall, they go back. And my wife is from Sennan, which is 1 mile from Land's End. So it's about as Cornish as you can get. They still eat their young down there. I often sort of joke to my wife that the only reason she married me is to make sure that her children didn't have webbed feet and hands. She just needed to broaden the gene pool a little bit. But when I moved to Cornwall, I worked for a firm of solicitors, and that was a steep learning curve. So from this mass market, just doing life assurance on the back of mortgages, to estate planning and interesting things like that. And learned about trusts. They had no idea that I knew nothing about that when they employed me, but it obviously managed to blag my way through that interview. But they were solicitors, not financial planners. They had no idea what a financial planning firm needed, and so I offered to close it for them and cherry-pick the best clients. And I moved to Jackson's. Now, Jackson's is a practice which has been in Penzance since 1923. It originally is a general insurance broker, But in 1974, sort of gave birth, if you like, to the financial advice bit. And I bought into that. I went there in 2005, bought in 2007, and that's where I still am now. I now glory in the term of managing director, which anybody who is a business owner means that you know that that's a meaningless term. It just means we work a lot harder, usually for less money. Now, I did the CFP in 2006. Somebody told me back in fact, it was Emma Armstrong, Craig, told me back in the year 2000 that one day the AFPC would become the minimum standard. So I thought, well, I better do that then, so I did. Which is why it still amazes me that people are surprised by the fact that the qualification levels have got to go up in the RDR. You know, we knew that years ago. But the CFP was definitely a light bulb moment for me, as other people have said. I love the sort of technical interweaving of the different things you had to address in the plan, and sort of addressing two of them and then realized that what I'd put completely meant that I couldn't address the third one. So starting again and taking that week off that I did to write my CFP plan was great. I enjoyed everything about it. I'd never ever written anything so comprehensive for a client before, and I have never ever written anything so comprehensive for a client since. Now, okay, I had a glass of water there before somebody's tied it up. I realise this might not be the best company to admit that to, but we're all friends here, are we not? Now, why is that? Is it geography? I mean, Cornwall is a poor area. It's the poorest county. Not quite sure by what measure, but it's a poor county. It qualifies for special status in Europe. But there's plenty of money down there, really. You know, we've got plenty of wealthy clients. So I don't think it's the fact of where I live. I don't think that's the reason why I've never written such a comprehensive plan since doing a CFP. Maybe it's bad marketing. Maybe I'm just not reaching the right people. I don't know. I don't really care. But I think where I've come to is that, frankly, the vast majority of people have simpler needs than the most comprehensive financial plan that I've ever written. It might just be my clients, but these are the people that I like working with because I'm a simple bloke. I'm not a technician, really. That stuff bores me. It's the same reason that I failed my electronics degree, probably. I love people, though, and people care about people. My experience is that clients actually don't care at all about money. They care about what money can help them achieve or can stop them from achieving if they don't have enough of it. I mean, do you agree? I mean, perhaps it's just me. It's not money. Yeah, good, nice, some positive heckling, that's good. They don't care about money at all. With it, they can achieve whatever they want. Without it, they can't. So money is therefore an enabler. I'm suffering from man flu. I should perhaps have mentioned that. And hay fever as well, so I can barely breathe, let alone talk. Never mind. So money is an enabler, and as such, it has incredible power, incredible power. I'm sure you've all, like me, been party or know of situations where money has been a primary contributor to a divorce, for example, or has caused proper stress, medical stress. It's been money that has caused that to a point. I'm sure you've seen previously very together families be divided when the patriarch dies, and suddenly the thing which divides them is who's going to get what. So money has an incredible power. And someone who can wield this tool, this enabler, which we all can, is an incredible benefit to society. And so I'm thinking about this, and at the same time, I start reading Dan Sullivan of The Strategic Coach. Now, I've yet to be in the financial position to drop the $5,000 a year or whatever it is to go to, despite Simon & Mo's best efforts to tell me to do it. You're quite right, of course. But I've read everything he's ever written, heard everything he's ever recorded, and he wrote a book called The Advisor Century. And the premise is basically that financial advisors and planners, because we can hold together all the different strings of a client's life, their emotional life, their financial life, even their health and things like that, we can hold all those strings together and help them plan them. We have real power, and power to change the world. Sounds very zen, I know, but I believe it to be true. I believe Dan. I'm a Dan disciple in a sort of slightly standoffish way. A client's accountant will not generally ask about their dreams and their aspirations. I think it was Peter this morning said accountants look backwards, don't they? Your priest won't ask you about your money. Actually, I've known some priests who do that a lot, actually. Raised in the evangelical church, there's some dreadful stories. Your solicitor generally won't ask you detailed questions about your health or family medical history, maybe. And your doctor won't ask you about your tax, but we get to ask about all those things. And so that gives us, I believe, an incredible access into people's lives. And that's why I love this job so much, which hopefully is evident. People have said to me, as I'm sure they have to you, that they trust me with their lives. I know more about some of the clients than their own kids do. I'm sure you are all the same. But because I love this bit so much, I want to have this relationship with everybody. But we have a problem there. There is only so many hours in the day. And when you care about people as much as I do, and I'm sure as much as you do, you can't scale it up. Client relationships take time if they're done right. My brother-in-law is a financial planning manager for HSBC. He's targeted 25 appointments a week. You can't have a relationship on those kind of numbers. I get slightly edgy if I get more than 8. Probably 4 or 5 of those will be review meetings or planning meetings, I'm supposed to call them. We emphasize our technical skill and the asset allocating prowess and all that sort of thing, and our tax-saving expertise, rightly so. Those are what make us CFPs. They're laudable skills, but what clients value is different things. Now, you've seen, I'm sure, this chart before. It's far from original. It's 2004 even, but this is along the bottom are these sort of elements of the financial planning process. So from data gathering and analysis, preparing the plan, implementation and admin, product advice, and then presenting the plan and reviewing it on an ongoing basis, sorry, typo there, and then relationship management. Now the grey, silver, is what we value, according to this survey. The green is what clients value. So this is what, it's really the presenting the plan and keeping it under review, and the relationship bit that clients value. We tend to value the technical stuff. And it's this bit that I like the most. But we've still got a problem, and it's scale. I'm sure, like you, I love it when something which is so easy to you and I, but when a client really gets it and they realize what it can do for them, then the light goes on behind their eyes, and I love that. But we've still got this problem of scale. So where I've come to so far is that I love the CFP process. I love all these bits, but I love what clients love, which is the relationship part. And specifically the education part. You see, I am of the opinion, I must be careful how I phrase this, that in this world of the internet, our knowledge is largely available for free. Now, the application of it to an individual person's circumstances is always going to be an interpersonal skill. But there's so much information out there, part of which is my fault, which I'll come back to in a minute, that people are going to be able to do their own financial planning, and they will. Around this sort of time that I'm realizing this stuff, a few things came together for me. Firstly, a few people in different circumstances told me that I was quite good at explaining things. Okay, that was nice. It was in a work environment, of course. I've got an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old daughter, and my wife would say, I would explain something to them. You know what it's like when they're that age, they're asking how everything works. And my wife would say, I would never think of explaining it in those terms. And this, I just sort of noticed that more and more people were saying that to me. I also had a bit of an epiphany, which is partly why I mentioned the sort of the religious upbringing, is that I realized one day, and I don't really know what triggered it, that if I die only having helped rich people get richer, I will have wasted my life. Now that's me. I would never impose those values on anybody else, but that won't be a well-used life from my point of view. I'm not preaching now, okay? That's me, not you. Thirdly, I'd been using social media for a little bit, Twitter and Facebook and things like that. I'd used it personally, primarily, wondered about its use in business. but wasn't sure how that would work out. I'm still not, really. I'll admit that to you now. And fourthly, I read a book by this guy. Now, this is Gary Vaynerchuk. He's my hero. I love him a little bit. He is a Russian immigrant to New York. He's born the same year as me, 1975. He immigrated from Belarus, former Soviet Union, to New Jersey in 1978 when he was 3. His family didn't speak a word of English. His father, through their Jewish family connections, got a job at a liquor store. And he worked hard, became eventually the manager of this liquor store. This is a proper brown bag, go and buy your Johnny Walker and take it out and drink it on the streets type of liquor store. Became manager, then bought the liquor store with a partner, then bought the partner out. And by the time Gary was 14, it was turning over $4 million a year, so not a bad liquor store, not bad for an off-license. Gary, when he was 14, started working, shoveling ice downstairs, and when he eventually left college, he came into the business. And between 1996, I believe, and 2004, he turned it from a $4 million a year business to a $60 million a year business. Gave it the name the Wine Library. It became a 40,000 square foot wine, sort of Aladdin's cave in Clark in New Jersey. Now, by that time, they were selling wine online, and one lunchtime, Gary walked through his IT department and noticed his technical guys spitting food all over their computers, laughing at something called The Show by Zay Frank. This is one of the earliest video blogs, and you can still look at it now. The Show by Zay Frank, which is Z-E-F-R-A-N-K. And it is funny. And he sort of spotted an opportunity there and realized that he could use this technology to teach the world about wine, which is his field of expertise. And so he sent a stock boy out to get a camera, sat behind a desk with a spit bucket, tasted 3 wines on camera and put it online. The next day he did the same thing, and he did it every day for 1,000 episodes. And in that time, he was also using Twitter, very early adopter of Twitter in 2006, 7, I believe, and Facebook to get involved in conversations online about his field of expertise, which was wine. So he would search Twitter for Chardonnay or Merlot, and wouldn't say, hey, I sell Chardonnay, do this, you might like this one. He would just get involved in conversations. And gradually he became a thought leader. I mean, he's widely recognized as one of the world's foremost wine experts. He's not wine establishment. He doesn't use the same 40 or so words that most wine people use. He's not all stuffy. He's very East Coast. His language is appalling when he's doing keynotes. But he by doing, he learned how to use the internet to gain influence, right? To become a key person of influence. I won't tread on your presentation. So I read this book, and I should never read books because I end up with lots of ideas. But I thought, I can do that. I like technology. I can get a cheap camera. Now, I didn't tell a soul what I was doing. But what I did was set up this. There we go. Meaningful Money TV, excuse me, which is a website. I didn't tell anybody what I was doing, didn't even tell my wife, in case she thought I was an idiot. I started just filming what is budgeting and how do you do it? How do you get out of credit card debt? What is life assurance? What are the different types and why would you use them? I started this up. Started filming in April last year, went live on July 23rd last year, and I put up episode 122 yesterday morning, so it's about 2.5 a week. So with that, this is a website, obviously. It's all hosted on YouTube, so you can see a little YouTube embed there, and there's 5 on every page, and there's tons of pages. There's also a Facebook page. Oh, look. Oh, rat, hang on. Recognize this man? That's Richard Allen. There you are. There's a Twitter page, and that's a YouTube channel. So I thought I could do that. I read Gary's book, and I thought I can do that, and so I did. I started doing it. I eventually told Richard what I was doing, and Ben Crockford, and they thought, you might be onto something here. I told my wife, and she said, yes, oh, okay, dear, whatever you want to do. She's not a technology person as a rule. And as a result of this, I won a couple of awards in the last year. I won't dwell on. One of them was the Professional Advisor Awards for Financial Education, which I was very pleased and proud to get. What I want to do is to harness these fantastic tools that we've got now to let people know about financial planning, basically, and how easy it is, really. Because I believe, just as I've never written so comprehensive a plan as I did for my CFP license, I believe that for at least 9 out of 10 people, financial planning really is as simple as spend less than you earn, put the rest away, invest it wisely, protect against unforeseen circumstances. That's basically it for most people. The problem is for those people, there's no profit in it, is there? For us, we need the high net worth people. And I'm definitely in that camp as well. So I'm very active on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. These things can be very generally called this horrible phrase, which is Web 2.0. And that simply means where the first iteration of the web was brochure sites, static pages that you went to and they never changed. Web 2 came about with the advent of things like WordPress and Blogger, where you could put your own website up and update it easily and quickly. Web 2 sort of is the interactive web then. It's where you can have conversations in comments or on Twitter and Facebook and things like that. It values relationships rather than brands, and the brands are getting that. I'll come back to that very briefly later on. And it sort of rewards personal interaction more than anything. Now, this is bound to raise some questions. Well, I hope so. It depends whether I've put you to sleep or not, but I'm going to address 2 straight away, okay? First question I always get asked is, oh, that's great that you're doing all that, Pete. How much business has it brought in? Okay, the answer is sweet bugger all, right? Not a dicky bird, and that's not why I did it. Okay, you might as well ask me how much business has come in because you go to church every Sunday. A little bit, but that's not why I go. Okay, I don't do social media to get business in. Sounds dreadfully altruistic, but I want to get good information out there because we are failing as a nation, educating our kids. We all know about the savings gap and the pension gap and all things like that. So the answer is none. I have had no clients come in as a result of this. Before you turn off, though, and think, oh, God, you wasted the last 20 minutes of my time, and that isn't why I do it, but I'll come back to why I am in a minute. Related to that is, what's the ROI? It takes time. It takes me about 4 hours a week to do 3 videos, which is not that much, really, but I got 2 kids and various other interests, like you all have, I'm sure. So it's valuable time. I do it because I want to do it. What's the ROI? Well, unless you know what it is you're trying to measure, it's an impossible question to answer. You might as well ask what the ROI is of having a phone in your office. Well, you have one because, how would you work without it? It's going that way with the social internet. Eventually, we will ask, how on earth did we even do business without this? But that's a contention at this stage, but I'm certain I'll be proved right. Quick show of hands, if I may. How many people here, when mobile phones became widely available, not the huge brick things that only London people had, when they first became widely available, did anybody here, and is anybody here brave enough to admit that they thought, I don't know why anybody would have a mobile phone. Why would you ever want somebody to be able to get hold of you all the time? Did anybody here think that? You're such liars. Such liars. Okay. Did anybody here think that the internet might be a fad? No? Okay. Who here has said at some point, please be honest, I'll never have a Facebook page? Okay, keep them up. Keep them up. Hang on, let me make sure I get this right. Keep them up if you still don't have a Facebook page. Which is it, up or down? That's at least half. That's fine, it's not for everybody. I'm not going to judge you for not having a Facebook page, you Luddites. Who thinks that financial planning can never be done online? Good, it's happening already in America. So, very quickly, just to finish off, why am I doing this? If I've already admitted to you I've earned naff all out of it so far, actually that's not strictly true. I'm sponsored to do Meaningful Money now, so I am earning from it. But I haven't brought any clients into Jackson's, my regulated company, as a result. I have had approaches, but none of the people who have approached me have fitted my client profile, so that's fine. Happy to sort of palm them off, pass them on to, oh, what a giveaway, to other people. One of the reasons I'm doing it, there's two reasons primarily, is what's this guy's name? Okay, you recognize him instantly. Now, we've been putting money with 7IM for 6 years now. They've got 43 million quid now on of our clients' money. This man is a one-man marketing machine for us. We go see a client, and we say, you know, have you ever watched BBC News or Sky News? And there's a guy who comes on there whenever they want to talk about finances and markets and stuff, and he's got red braces. Yes, I know him. He explains things really easily. I love that guy. Nice, sort of chubby, you know, nice friendly face, round face. And it's easy for us. Now, how much brand equity do you think 7IM get because of him? Vast amount. It's the red braces that do it. People recognize it's a hook. That's what I want for me. I want to be the guy that can explain things simply. Who do you think is the most Googled personality, the most Googled person's name in this country? Any ideas? Beckham. Not true. Cheryl Cole? Sorry? Ryan Giggs, probably in the last 2 or 3 weeks. The answer is Martin Lewis, which makes me want to vomit. But he is the most, not just in finance terms, he's the most Googled individual in the UK, apparently. I mean, that terrifies me. So people are getting their advice online from this guy. Okay, he's neither authorized, qualified, nor regulated. Why can't they get that from me? So I want Jackson's to gain brand equity. I live in a very small part of the world, you know, it's right at the end of the country. Everybody knows Jackson's because we've been in town for 1923. But I want Jackson's to sort of get some reflected brand equity from me and what I'm doing online. I'm convinced it'll work, but it takes time. Second reason I'm doing it is that business is becoming more human. Anybody heard of Zappos? American company. You will have done, Karen, of course. Now, Zappos is an online firm that sells shoes online. Now, what are you betting that the guy who set Zappos up said to his best mate at the time, I'm thinking of setting up a company that flogs shoes online. What do you reckon his best mate said? Are you out of your mind? Shoes is very visceral, so you need to try it on, don't you, and walk around in front of the little angled mirror and things. Nobody will ever buy shoes online. Zappos was bought by Amazon for $928 million last year. And Zappos is famous for its customer service online. So they have real people manning their Twitter account and their Facebook page, responding to questions and, yes, complaints and queries and things like that. And they're famous for it. Brands are getting this now. Business is becoming more personal. And it's true not just for massive international brands like this, but even for local businesses. Domino's Pizza, I know, is not a local business, but they have local branches. And there's a branch somewhere in America, I forget where, and they were an hour delivering a pizza, and it was wrong. And the woman was hacked off that she'd been kept waiting for a pizza, and then it was wrong. She went on Twitter and vented, you know, as people do. Excuse me. The next morning she woke up, and the manager of the store, the owner of the store, had replied to her with a link to a video. And the owner of the store and the manager of the store had gone in front of a camera and had apologized and said, look, we're so sorry. You know, it was late. We're so sorry it was wrong. We're going to try harder, aren't we, next time, Junior? Yes, we're going to try harder. It is this video about how sorry they were. It's about 1.5 minutes. It's worth watching. Now, the lady who had had the order wrong, blown away by this. Now, she's probably got, I think at the time, she had a couple of thousand followers. It's not a big number, really, in the grand scheme of things. There's people in this room with more followers than that. But what power that is to have a big brand, a local branch, admittedly, have the power with these tools to put a face on these big brands. And I believe that this is the way that business is going, and the internet and the social web is going to allow us to do that. So I have come through this journey. I love financial planning, but I only love it because it's people, and I love the fact that I can make a genuine difference to people. But I also love the fact that using these tools, I can make a genuine difference to lots more people, even if I'm not earning anything out of it directly. Now, very quickly, a couple of books and a couple of websites just for you to write down. But please, this is not for everybody. I'm aware that I get excited about this stuff and it can come across as a preach. It isn't for everybody. It speaks perfectly to my DNA. I love technology. I'm a bit of a tart in front of a camera, so I like that. And I like the, getting awards. It's great. It's just fun. I like it. But it's not for everybody. So this is not that you must do this. However, you must be aware that in this new world of the social internet, you can, and we can, reach vastly more people with the message of financial planning. And how, for a vast majority of people, it's very simple. And if we can only get these things right, we'll be in far better health as a nation. See, I can get evangelical about it. 2 books for you. This is Gary Vee, who's my hero that I talked to you about earlier on. This is his new book, in which his premise is that even big brands now, like Zappos, are reverting to the values of small companies and small town businesses where, this happens still down with us. My village shop person knows my name. If we go away, I just tell the post lady, and she says, yeah, no worries, I'll hold your post back. Sort of things that you don't get in the cities generally. He thinks business is going back that way. I agree with him too. This is a book frequently recommended by Dan Sullivan, the strategic coach. This is his, Zuboff and Maxman. Their vision is that what people will want in future is deep support from their advisors. And we are, I believe, best placed to supply that support. So these were life-changing books for me. 2 websites. Search.twitter.com. This is a live conversation about what's going on in the world. You can use Twitter, search.twitter to, and I can show you because I've got it running on my screen right now. I have a permanent search for anybody talking about pensions, savings, investments, advisor, IFA, within 100 kilometers of Penzance. So anybody mentions those words in their tweet stream within 100 miles of Penzance, I get an alert. It happens, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a month, something like that. As soon as it does, bang, I'm straight in and say, look, can I help you? Okay? Nothing's come of it yet, but when those people are talking to their friends about advisors, he said, I had a comment from a guy down in Penzance. He seems pretty switched on. Who are they going to come to? Hopefully, it's going to be me. So search.twitter.com is, I believe, the most powerful tool on the internet. And secondly, ifalife.com, run by a guy called Phil Calvert, who is, I believe, a thought leader in the use of the internet, particularly in financial services. If you're not a member of IFA Life, it's kind of like a Facebook for financial planners, but so much more. Highly recommend you get involved with that if you're not. I hope I haven't preached at you, but I feel myself get excited about the possibilities. So I wanted to share that with you and hope that's been useful. Thank you very much.